Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And those of you that are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, we've got a lot to cover and very exciting. President Trump, as I am speaking, is on his way back to Washington, which is a very, very, very good thing. We most definitely want him to come back from Washington, and things are going to really heat up because there's been a lot of craziness going on. You know, anytime President Trump leaves the country, things get kind of nuts in Washington because Daddy's not home. Daddy's coming home. So we got a lot to cover. Before we get into the big Trump stuff, there's a couple other things I want to touch on because it's important and it's got to be discussed. You know, it seems like a minor thing. And I know a lot of people think this is a minor thing. I talked about this a bit yesterday, and then I talked about the updates that are going on today. And I'm not exactly sure why I'm having this issue with my mic. Let's see here. All right, we'll try this. What's been going on with this Sweeney issue, all right, for the last couple of days seems a bit trivial to a lot of people. I get that, but it's not. In fact, not only is the Sweeney issue not trivial, it's a very important issue, okay? And the reason that it's important is because as crazy as this sounds, I know this sounds nuts to a lot of people, but I think if you think about it a little bit, you'll agree with me on this. What's going on with the Sweeney controversy is part of the ending of woke culture. You know, the woke culture is just been so god-awful and destructive to our country. I mean, there's no getting around it, right? I mean, everything that's been going on in this country involving woke has been just polarizing. It's been ripping the country apart. It's been used to do all kinds of destruction. And one of the things that woke did, and it piggybacked in the beginning off of the Harvey Weinstein Me Too movement. But what happened with the woke culture is they took over media. They took over movies, television, and commercials. And they made a decision that all models, all lead actors were going to be anyone but white people. And this American Eagle campaign, with Sweeney, is the first mainstream, high-profile ad campaign, type of any television commercial, a major one, in years that has starred a white person, in particular a white woman. And the wokesters are having meltdowns over it. And she's a mediocre actress. I've seen her act in one or two things. I think she's less than mediocre. But she has done something that's amazing. Listen to this. American Eagle stock has surged, as of this moment that I'm speaking, over 24% since the Sweeney ad began, which they estimate out of Wall Street is adding $400 million of market cap to the value of the company. So almost half of it. Think about this. A less than mediocre actress has done a kind of a stupid jean commercial. It caused this massive woke backlash. And what's happened? American Eagle stock is going through the roof. And, you know, I don't know if I've bought some shorts once or twice at American Eagle, but I haven't bought much else. But I have to buy some new jeans myself because I lost all this weight from the weight loss program that I've been on. And I'm going to go into the local American Eagle Outfitters and buy a couple pairs of jeans, probably this weekend. And a lot of people are thinking that way. And a lot of people are thinking about American Eagle now. You know, what American Eagle did is, I know this, it sounds crazy, but I think if you think about it, you'll agree, it's almost like a glass ceiling has been broken by doing this. Yeah, and it's going to be the beginning of something because, you know, corporations, they care about the bottom line. And when they see that American Eagle's stock value has increased the value of the company over $400 million, nearly $500 million, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to head out to the local American Eagle and buy some stuff this week, like I'm going to do. Other companies take note of that, and they're going to stop caving to this cancel culture that has taken over commercials and film and television, and start casting the best people for the roles regardless of what their gender is or skin color or something. And the wokesters, you know, the left in general have anger issues. You guys know this. You know, the return of Trump has caused so many problems for these people that they can't even see straight. And this one is kind of like it's just the final straw, right? That they've lost everything that they built up. And you got to understand, these leftists, when Biden came into office and Trump went off and started reorganizing for this second term, and all this lawfare was going on the last 4 years prior to this second term, the liberals thought they were going to be running the country forever. Okay? They thought that people like Joy Reid were going to be running this country, and the rest of us, those of us that are conservative, we were going to be outcast, segregated from society, and that was it. That was it. You know, with the critical race theory and all these things that go along with it. In fact, if you know, you recall the critical race theory, they had one of their phrases was to white people, you know, your time's over. It's our time now. And that's why there was all this ethnic casting in every single role. I mentioned earlier, there's on the stream this morning, there's a new Star Trek series that doesn't really look all that good, but it stars Holly Hunter. Can you believe? Yeah, the actress Holly Hunter is starting a Star Trek series. I guess things aren't going so well for her career, but they're probably paying her a lot of money. And they released a new trailer. The show debuts next year, but they released a new trailer at Comic-Con. And I have watched more than one person going through the trailer and analyzing it, and they're playing this game of, it's an updated version of Where's Waldo, but instead of looking for Waldo, instead of Where's Waldo, it's Where's the White Guy, okay? And this Sydney Sweeney commercial is, as who cares about jeans, I get that, but this Sydney Sweeney commercial is really the end of wokeism, especially with this news today that American Eagle stock has gone up over $400 million. I can only imagine what their sales are going to be. You know, there's still American Eagles in the malls. There's one in the mall here. And when people like me start going in and buying things, that's going to be it. It's going to be over. And, you know, the country could not survive with this woke mind virus that's been infecting it. We couldn't. We had to end this wokeness. Woke is hate. Woke is discrimination. Woke is sexism, racism, and every other negative ism you can list. That's what woke is. And it's so important to cleanse our society of the woke virus. And that's just the way it is. Now, there's some other stories that I want to get to on the program, but your calls are certainly welcome. If you're watching or listening live on YouTube, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are tuned in from. Okay, so moving on to some other things, though. There is a few stories I want to cover in the beginning, and one, I was going to wait till later, but I'm going to pull this up now. because we've all been given such a hard time to Dan Bongino and Kash Patel running the FBI. And we've been wondering, what are they doing? What are they up to? When are they going to do something? And there's an article in The Atlantic, and The Atlantic doesn't like Bongino, Kash Patel, Trump, or anyone. You know, we know this. They have an article interviewing this guy that just resigned from the FBI. I'm going to go through this story, and the way they present the story is as if this guy's some American hero, but no, he's not. Bongino and Kash Patel are, and this is something else. Now, the headline, this is in The Atlantic, the FBI's leaders have no idea what they're doing. A casualty of Trump's purge speaks out. Now, this casualty of a Trump purge going on at the FBI, the very idea, in fact, that there's a purge going on at the FBI tells us that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are doing a good job. But they interview this guy, and I want to go through this story. And a little ways into this, you get to find out why Bongino got this guy to resign. Listen to this. This is in The Atlantic. His name's Michael Fineberg. I'm reading from The Atlantic now. Michael Fineberg had not been planning to leave the FBI, but on May 31st, he received a phone call from his boss asking him about a personal friendship with a former FBI agent who was known for criticizing President Donald Trump. Fineberg, an assistant special agent in charge at the FBI's field office in Norfolk, Virginia, and by the way, that's a big deal. It's a big job in the FBI, realized right away that he was in the crosshairs of the Bureau's leadership at an unusually chaotic time. If his 15-year career at the Bureau was coming to an end, he wanted to depart with at least some dignity rather than being marched out the door. By the following afternoon, he had resigned. Now, The Atlantic this is just the beginning. The Atlantic is crafting this almost like a novel about this guy, that he is some type of American hero who stood up and said no more, and I'm not, Well, there's more to the story. Listen to this. The FBI, back to the Atlantic article, the FBI has long seen itself as an organization built on expertise. Its founder, J. Edgar Hoover, was an early and devoted advocate of professionalizing the government bureaucracy. Well, I'd say Hoover had a lot of problems, right? To the point of mandating that agents wear dark suits and striped ties. Now, however, the Bureau is in the early stages of something like a radical deprofessionalism, writes the Atlantic. The most important quality for an FBI official to have now appears to be not competence, but loyalty, right? The exiting of Fineberg and others like him is an effort to engineer and accelerate this transformation. Yeah, I would say loyalty is very important. Yeah, wouldn't you? Do you guys think loyalty is very important? Absolutely. But we still haven't got, so remember now, he got a call from his boss that there were some questions about a friendship he has with an ex-agent who's been critical of Trump, and he quit over this, right? So let's get to it. Still haven't gotten all of it. Fineberg's boss, Special Agent in Charge Dominic Evans, didn't allege any misconduct on his part. Rather, as Fineberg set out in his resignation letter the following day, he explained that the FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino had found out that Fineberg had maintained a friendship with the former counterintelligence agent Peter Strzok. That's right. You heard that right. Peter Strzok. And so he's friends with Peter Strzok. Who the heck is friends with Peter Strzok? So they didn't threaten him. They didn't fire him. But the story goes on. I'm not going to read any more into the story. I've got to subscribe to The Atlantic to read much further anyway. But for some reason, I was able to read on my iPhone with no problem. But I pull it up on the web browser, and I got to pay to read further. But I don't need to read further. I already read the article, and I'll tell you what it says. They didn't fire him. They did nothing. Now, his boss did ask him about his friendship with Peter Strzok. He quit because he was afraid they were going to make him take a lie detector test. He didn't want to take a lie detector test. So he quit. Really? Well, what's that about? If he's such a great FBI agent who's done nothing wrong, why would he not take an FBI lie detector test? You know, these people in these government agencies, like the FBI and other agencies, They take lie detector tests quite frequently for promotions and anything. It is very normal to take a lie detector test. But he didn't want to take one with the Kash Patel Dan Bongino FBI. Why is that? Now, of course, The Atlantic has this very long-winded article portraying him as some hero and standing up for what's right, and he's loyal to America, not the man, and not this and not that, and he stood up and did the right thing and walked out. I would say he was afraid to take that lie detector test, wouldn't you? I mean, at this point, when you look at there is no getting around the fact that what Peter Strzok did was wrong. Remember Peter Strzok and Lisa Page? He was the FBI agent involved in investigating the server at Hillary's house with her cell phones, the bleach bit, and he was also involved with getting the FISA warrants from that corrupt FISA judge to spy on Trump Tower. And he was involved in some other things too. I haven't thought about Peter Strzok in quite some time. However, Peter Strzok has been back in the news, right? Just yesterday, there was a story about Peter Strzok, and it's being reported still today. So when Tulsi Gabbard, see, The Atlantic, these people, they're all so in bed with each other. They're so in bed with each other, these people, you know, and they try to protect their own. But there's a new sheriff in town. His name's Donald Trump. But Peter Strzok was back in the news this week when Tulsi Gabbard released and declassified and then released all these files that were about the Obama coup. The day before yesterday, Peter Strzok deleted all of his tweets on his Twitter. All of them. Deleted all his tweets. You think that's just a coincidence, or was Peter Strzok scared? You know, we've got Clapper, who's lawyered up. I've seen Brennan on TV a couple times. He looks panicked. Comey, he never looks panicked because he's insane. But there's a lot going on. And you can and people inside the permanent Washington power class are in a panic over what Tulsi has done. John Solomon over at Just the News says there's going to be a big drop about this coup, and in particular about the FBI with Crossfire Hurricane this week. There's going to be a big release from the CIA about it, about how they knew it was all fake, all these stories about Trump and Russia collusion. They knew it was all fake, and they still went ahead and pushed all these things. So this guy did not quit because he is a highly principled guy. He probably, I would think, quit because he's got a relationship still today with Peter Strzok, who's got all kinds of problems going on. And what those problems are, I don't know. But I'll tell you this. This shows me that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are doing their job. Now, they may not have done the arrest that we want them to do, but they've gone out and they're purging some of these deep state cretins. I wonder how many other people have quit or have been fired that we don't know about. Yeah, so this is really a truly amazing story. Now, I'm going to take a quick break, and when we get back, there's a whole bunch more to talk about, all right? If you'd like to call in, please do. The number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. My name's Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast, where MAGA comes to talk. We'll be right back.
Tired of rummaging through your drawers, boxes, and bins, trying to find what you need? It's time to bring order to all that chaos, and you can do just that with Primbo. That's Prinbo, the smart Bluetooth label maker that helps you organize everything with ease. Whether you're at home, in the office, or at school, Primbo makes labeling fast, fun, and frustration-free. It's easy to use, too. Just open the intuitive app, design your label, and print instantly via Bluetooth. Need durability? No problem. Primbo delivers vibrant, waterproof labels with perfect adhesion that stays put and leaves no sticky mess behind when you're ready to switch things up. Made from premium materials right here in the United States, Primbo is built to last and ready to simplify your life, one label at a time. From spice racks to school supplies, office files to extension cords, Primbo puts everything in its place so you can stay stress-free and focused. Primbo makes a great gift, too. Get organized the smart way. Visit Primbo.com Primbo.store. That's Primbo. And bring clarity to your space. Primbo.store. Do you ever look back on your life and just laugh out loud? Author Joe Palermo does just that in his book, Who Killed My Sea Monkeys and Other Tales of Life, available on Amazon. When you read Who Killed My Sea Monkeys, you'll laugh and maybe even tear up a little. From growing up with Smokey the Bear as his unofficial childhood therapist, to the emotional devastation of a sea monkey massacre, to the day his wife left him for a Korean boy band. The author takes you on a wild, witty ride. It's storytelling that feels like you're sitting across the table from an old friend. If you love sharp humor, unexpected insight, and a few heart-tugging surprises, Who Killed My Sea Monkeys is your next must-read book. It also makes a great addition to your book club. Order your copy today. Available in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, Kindle Unlimited, and audiobook on Amazon. Who Killed My Sea Monkeys and Other Tales of Life, from author Joe Palermo. You know their favorite show. You know how they take their coffee. But do you know what your partner really needs to feel loved? To feel seen. Too many couples drift apart, not because they stop caring, but because they stop really connecting. The Power of Knowing Your Partner is a must-read, eye-opening book that shows you how to bring mindfulness into everyday moments, so you can stop going through the motions and start building a relationship that lasts. If you're ready to deepen your bond, rebuild your connection, or simply become a better partner, go to thebestlife8.com. That's the number 8, thebestlife8.com, and order your copy of The Power of Knowing Your Partner, because knowing them better starts with being present right now. Thebestlife8.com.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. If you're on hold, by the way, stand by. I'll get to some calls in just a bit. And if you would like to call in, the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. If you're watching live on YouTube, the number is pinned in the live chat. Now, Jupiter Joe Thomas, who offers free phone consultations, no matter where you're located in the United States, by the way, I want to talk to you about one of his annuity options that I think is just absolutely amazing. Now, annuities, you call Joe Thomas, you talk to him about annuities. Annuities are awesome. No matter what happens in the stock market, your nest egg, your money is safe. You will never lose money. And on top of that, not only will you never lose money, you're guaranteed income every month for the rest of your life. Oh boy, that's pretty amazing. And one of his annuity options, you can ask him about this. This is a big one. The income doubler for unexpected health events. Let me tell you, as you grow older, health issues, they become a big financial burden. Things are expensive. And, one of you, your spouse, you fall ill, who knows what happens. There's a lot of things you need. And whatever your monthly income is from your annuity, if you have that problem with the income doubler, it doubles. So if your income's $2,000 a month, it becomes $4,000 a month. Pretty good, huh? Absolutely. So give Joe Thomas a call. And by the way, most people, if you're married, you're both on the annuity. Only one of you have to have that health issue for that income doubler to go into effect. Here's Joe Thomas's number. Now remember, that no-charge consultation is available no matter where you're located in America. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online, jupiterjoe.com. Okay, so this massive release from Tulsi last week. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to get this next story out, then I'll take a call or two. This story is really developing with so many things. This Atlantic story I was talking about before the break, that happened because of Tulsi. Okay? Now we've got another story. Look at this. General Flynn vindicated by a new Obamagate bombshell. Newly declassified portions of a letter written by Obama advisor Susan Rice appears to suggest that General Flynn was being excluded from discussions about alleged Russian interference. The declassified email sent by Susan Rice to herself, I guess, that's kind of strange, but I know people do that sometimes, vindicates General Flynn, who was the original national security advisor to President Trump in his first term. General Flynn was later charged by Special Counsel Robert Mueller with lying under oath during an FBI investigation. They got him in a perjury trap. In it, Susan Rice, who served as Obama's national security advisor, summarized a January 15th, 2017 meeting between herself, Obama, and then Sally Yates, who was the Deputy Attorney General, and Comey when he was FBI director. And this is from the declassified email, all courtesy of Tulsi. From a national security perspective, President Obama says he wants to be sure that, as we engage with the incoming team, that would be the first Trump administration, we are mindful to ascertain if there is any reason we cannot share information fully as it relates to Russia, Rice wrote. At the time, so what happened is, as this goes on, they set Flynn up. Now remember, when Trump was president-elect the first time and he met with Obama, Obama said, you can hire whoever you want, just don't hire General Flynn. Then he hired General Flynn while he was still president-elect. And this apparently really ticked off Obama. Comey said he does have concerns regarding that incoming NSA Flynn is speaking frequently with the Russian ambassador, the email goes on to say. Now, this is newly declassified thanks to Tulsi. Comey said that could be an issue as it relates to sharing sensitive information. President Obama asked if Comey was saying the NSC should not pass sensitive information related to Russia to General Flynn. And in the Rice email, Comey replied, potentially. So they set him up, and then Comey sent some agents to question him, and they got him in a perjury trap, and that was the end of it. I don't know exactly what it is with this obsession that Obama has with General Flynn, but it is definitely an unhealthy obsession, and they set him up. And now General Flynn is completely vindicated with what happened. This is all courtesy of these the declassifications that have been going on from Tulsi for the last 10, 12 days or so. It's pretty amazing. It is disgusting, no doubt. All right, we'll take a call or two. There's a lot more to cover, but let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Sean from Massachusetts.
Hey, Sean, what's up, man?
Yeah, well, this is, whenever something like Obama says, don't trust something, that means you should.
Yeah.
And, anything that he says, General Flynn's a good man, and he's done a lot, and he's been very outspoken, and I'm happy that he's thriving now after what they put him through.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing how we got to, and plus, Obama just doesn't realize what a 5D chess master that Trump really is. And how fast he's moving, and he's caught everybody. He's caught them all before he even made a move. And they're just so stupid to realize that. And everything he's doing, just like the big deal that he just made. You got idiots, these host hounds like Schumer that go up in the Senate and start talking about how bad this deal is. Any way they can get a foothold into negativity, they're going to do that. And he's saying it's going to cost. Yeah, he's terrible. And $90 billion in tax. What is he getting that from?
Yeah.
Because he has talked about taxes of all people. He talks about taxes, but what we're seeing here is Trump's maneuvering. He's posturing, and this is just brilliant work. He's just doing it. Nothing's overnight.
Yeah, and the story that I was talking about. Earlier with before the break with that FBI agent that's friends with Strzok that quit because of Bongino was looking into him. It tells you that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are doing some serious deep swamp draining. It's just not public. They're doing things behind the scenes, like Bongino has been alluding to, and these mysterious posts to X.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's the Donald Trump philosophy. You don't tell your enemy what you're going to do. It's just like when he was going to plan, military plans. One thing why were you going to tell the enemy and make it public what you were going to do?
Exactly.
The operation. I mean, it's the same exact tactics, and he's applying right through the FBI. I'm sure these guys, Bongino, and Patel are very smart men, and they know they have very, very common sense. And I'm sure they already knew this, but they're following Donald Trump's lead right here with the don't say anything, keep a low profile, strike fast, strike hard. And
Yeah.
you know what? These things are going to happen. And then they're going for the chinks that are in the armor. And, you know, and what they're doing here is it's slowly happening. Like you said, there's some things that are hard.
This FBI guy in this Atlantic article, he says that he resigned, this friend of Peter Strzok, he resigned because he didn't want to take a lie detector test that Cash and Bongino were ordering. Well, he's left behind his computers and his FBI phone. I'm sure they're going through all of that. Who knows what they found? I mean, it shows you just how deep the swamp is. And a lot of times, it's the file clerk types are the ones that are the bigger problem than the big name, household name people. Because they're always there, no matter who's running things.
Yeah. I mean, that's right. And this is what they're doing. The team is going for the core. And yeah, just like you said, and everything is starting to fall into place.
Yeah.
But like before, though, I mean, this is just going to be a gradual thing, and I think this is excellent. And I think that we're seeing more and more progress every day. He's winning every single day. There's a victory. There's
Absolutely.
several victories every day.
Absolutely.
And I'm loving every second.
I am too. All right. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. Take care. Good to hear from you. If you're on hold, stand by. If you would like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. And, you know, the Brian Craig Show podcast is on all podcast platforms, but I do stream it live on my YouTube channel, Brian Craig Show on YouTube. So if you subscribe and follow me on my YouTube channel, you'll get a notification when I go live. Now, at the beginning of the program, you know, I was talking about, as ridiculous as it sounds, how the Sydney Sweeney ad is a big glass ceiling of wokeism being ended. I mean, it's a pretty amazing thing because we need wokeism gone. The direction that America was going into with the radical leftist lunatics that were running this country was incredibly dangerous. You know, there's always been liberals around, and, you know, like Bill Clinton looks like a Reagan conservative compared to the squad and the people that have been running the country. And you even see that AOC and Jasmine Crockett and others, they're not so popular right now, even in Democrat circles. Did you know this? I think this would surprise a lot of people. I was surprised when I saw this. Did you know that AOC voted yes on Marjorie Taylor Greene's bill about the Iron Dome? That's amazing. You know, she's setting herself up to be the senator in Schumer's place. So she's trying to sound a little more reasonable, you know, AOC. But AOC and Jasmine Crockett are really on the outs because they're being viewed as part of the destruction of the Democrat Party that's been going on. It's pretty obvious. It's been, you know, and they certainly have a big role in it. But purging us of this wokeism, which was so deep in so many ways, did you see what happened here with the teachers union? This was a nutty story. The nation's largest, this is in the Gateway Pundit, the nation's largest teachers union found itself on the defensive when a Holocaust guidance lesson plan that they created did not mention Jews. I'm not kidding. Listen to this. This is what they put in their this is the NEA, by the way, the National Education Association. This is the NEA's 2025 handbook about the Holocaust Museum. Listen to this. The National Education Association 2025 handbook makes no connection between the killing of Jews and the Holocaust. This was discovered by the Washington Free Beacon, which is a very good news source. Isn't that something? The NEA handbook says the union will promote the celebration of International Holocaust Remembrance Day by recognizing more than 12 million victims of the Holocaust from different faiths, ethnicities, races, political beliefs, genders, and gender identification abilities/disabilities and other targeted characteristics. So they basically were turning Holocaust remembrance into a gay pride thing. You know, well, let me finish up with this, then I'll share my thoughts. The National Education Association's handbook erases Jews from the Holocaust, they write, in the Gateway Pundit and in the Washington Free Beacon with this new Holocaust Remembrance Day lesson plan. That is, you know, crazy what's happened here, part of the woke virus was, spreading a lot of hate during different groups, but a lot of it was anti-Semitism that they were looking to spread. And we've seen this. I mean, look what's going on right now in the city of New York. We have this radical socialist guy that's running for mayor who's Muslim, Zohan. We had this mass murder event yesterday. Witnesses said that the killer was shouting "Free Palestine." The building where he attacked is on the Intifada target list, number 5 on their target list. I pulled this up this morning. The Intifada zone of operations target list, where the guy hit yesterday, was number 5 on that list. He's yelling "Free Palestine." Have you seen the updates today? He was upset at the NFL over their concussion handling. Does anyone buy that? And, we have an Islamic terrorist attack in New York City, where 9/11 happened in New York City, and they're calling it an attack on the NFL? Are you kidding me? And they're doing this for a number of reasons. They're normal, politically correct liberal ways. But they're also, they got Zohan that they're covering for. But this stuff's not going to fly. We're in a new place now. This NAA Holocaust denial that's going on, these wokesters that are upset that there's a white actress in an ad. They call that racism now. If white people that are actors find work, that it's racist if they work, at least in a lead, they have to be a background supporting character. President Trump is purging America of all of this. None of it is unimportant. It's all important. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. It's Sam again. How you doing?
All right.
I'm not watching your show, so I don't know what the topic that we're discussing. Do you want to let me know?
Capitol would ban the use of...
Well, if you're not, let me ask you, if you're not watching the show, how do you know I'm on live?
Well, I know you're live. I saw that.
Well, I don't. But you're not watching, but I'm on live. I mean, how How do you know I'm on live if you're not following and watching?
I know the show is live. I can see on your channel there is a video that says live.
Oh, you got a notification. Okay.
No. I did not get a notification. I looked
Well,
up
this
your
is
channel,
not a. This
so
isn't
you
a
were live.
schedule. Okay. This isn't a. When I do the morning show, I'm on 6 to 9 every day. When I do the afternoon podcast, the schedule's a little loose. So, but that's okay. All right. So anyway, you're not watching, but I'm live. You called me. What's on your mind?
What? Can I talk about any topic?
No, I'm talking about a lot of topics. I'll see what's on your mind, but no, it's not open phones. But what's on your mind?
Well, Epstein's on my mind. That's what I was.
No,
like,
I figured. No, we're not talking about Epstein.
Okay, well, you asked me what was on my mind.
Well, we're not talking about it then.
Talk about?
It's not that what you're allowed to talk
what are we
about.
talking about
The way that it works. Okay, here's how it works. Okay, I host a show. I do a few shows a day. When I'm in the studio, I take live calls. Okay, the way it works is you watch or listen to the program. You hear something that you take issue with, maybe you agree with, you have an opinion about something I say on the story, and you call in about that. You got it? All right, so there you go. It is not open phones. Although, on Friday's morning show, I do open phones every Friday. I call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. Gee whiz. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right. You're on. There you go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Watch, it's him again. You're on the air.
Oh, hi. It's Sam again.
Sam.
Really, you have no
Sam.
problem.
It's one call per day. All right. If you call again, I'm not gonna. I'm not.
I wasn't even
I was
able to say
done.
anything.
I was done. I'm doing a show
What do
here
you
that
mean
you're
you're done?
interrupting.
I asked for the topic. You want to give it to me.
I
You
am.
wanna hang up
No.
on me again? I know you are.
Of course. Yeah, I am. Thanks for the call. I mean, my goodness. My goodness. What a nut. Huh? Well, hey, listen. That's my life, being a nut. Okay, now over the weekend, Zohan got married And remember, I talked about this over the weekend. Jogn, who's running for mayor of New York, got married in Zimbabwe. And this is, or what was it? No, Uganda. Got married in Uganda, where he's from originally, at his family's compound and mansion, which is really bizarre because his now wife, they've been living together in an apartment in Queens. So, he's running for mayor. Everybody loves a wedding. And a wedding is a real high-profile kind of thing. Why would he not have the wedding in a high-profile situation in New York where he and his bride live together in Queens and get all this media attention? Why go to Uganda? Something strange with that, right? There's something up with that. I got a couple of ideas, but I talked about it over the weekend, so I'm not going to get into that now. But anyway, the reason I bring up Jogn is because of this next story. So Jogn had security at his wedding. It was military personnel, Ugandan military, and they were wearing masks, which is liberals, they're very much against masks. Well, listen, when it comes to ICE agents, look at this. This is in Michigan. This is the local news out of Michigan. They're taking issue with masks. Listen.
State Capitol would ban the use of face masks for all law enforcement officers interacting with the public. The bill mandates officers must display their name or badge number, full name or initials. Now, this would not apply to undercover operations where an officer must conceal their identity to investigate and gather evidence of criminal activity. If passed, a violation of the law would be punishable by up to 90 days behind bars and a fine of up to $1,000.
Okay, so the Democrats in Michigan are passing a law to try to put ICE agents in jail for 90 days if they wear a mask. Now, it was just a couple years ago that the Democrats around the country passed laws requiring that we all wear masks. But now they're telling us that you're going to go to jail if you're wearing a mask if you're a law enforcement agent. When you look at the modern Democrat Party, everything they do is from the upside down world, like in Stranger Things. When do you see Democrats ever take a stand in favor of Americans? And again, not South Americans, not Latin Americans, but United States of Americans. It's a very bizarre thing. And there's a major conflict between that and Jogn, who has masked security at his wedding. On top of that, they got this guy that did this event who's yelling "Free Palestine." He's and he hit a target off the global intifada list. You got Jogn, who won't condemn the term "globalize the intifada," right? He's Muslim. The guy's yelling "Free Palestine," attack the place on the list in New York, and they're calling it an attack on the NFL because they don't want Jogn to have to deal with it, answer to it, or be connected with it. The fake news is just that, fake news. And no matter how few people watch them, even though they've blown their credibility, no one trusts them anymore, they still are back to their old tricks. They've never changed anything that they've done. Rush used to always say, he says, the media is the only business that won't change what they're doing based on what the customer wants. Any other business gives the customer what the customer wants, except the mainstream media, which we now call the fake news. He's so right about that, or the legacy media, whichever you want to call it. Now, I want to talk about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. Dr. Appleton, I think all the time, what would my life be like if I never met Dr. Appleton, because he's rid me of pain 7 times? It'd be a life of pain. And that's just the way it is. Every pain that I had, I still would have had it. The knee pain that I had for about 30 years, he rid me of. The arthritis in my hand, that was really bad, man. The arthritis in my hand was so bad, I was almost in tears. He rid me of my arthritis pain. My shoulder pain, I remember the first time I went to, I've had 3 shoulder injuries that he's treated, rid me of pain all 3 times, falling off my skateboard and stuff. I no longer skateboard because of it. I just, I guess I'm at that age where you look kind of ridiculous on the longboard anyway, right? But the first time I went in to see Dr. Appleton for the shoulder pain, the way I was on the air, I was in so much pain. And I described it. I said, it feels like someone has taken a steak knife and they've stuck it into my shoulder and are cutting me, and the side feels like I'm being punched by Mike Tyson. And I went to Dr. Appleton. He treated me with the laser treatment. It was in my right shoulder. The pain's gone, and it has not returned. Give Dr. Appleton a call. We've had listeners travel from all over the United States to see Dr. Appleton. He's that good. He performs all the treatments himself. Walk-ins are welcome. Appointments never necessary, even on Saturdays. Okay, you can find him online at AppletonChiro.com. You can also find his number at AppletonChiro.com, or give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. We'll be right back.
Tired of rummaging through your drawers, boxes, and bins, trying to find what you need? It's time to bring order to all that chaos, and you can do just that with Primbo. That's Prinbo, the smart Bluetooth label maker that helps you organize everything with ease. Whether you're at home, in the office, or at school, Primbo makes labeling fast, fun, and frustration-free. It's easy to use, too. Just open the intuitive app, design your label, and print instantly via Bluetooth. Need durability? No problem. Primbo delivers vibrant, waterproof labels with perfect adhesion that stays put and leaves no sticky mess behind when you're ready to switch things up. Made from premium materials right here in the United States, Primbo is built to last and ready to simplify your life, one label at a time. From spice racks to school supplies, office files to extension cords, Primbo puts everything in its place so you can stay stress-free and focused. Primbo makes a great gift, too. Get organized the smart way. Visit Primbo.store. That's Prinbo, and bring clarity to your space. Primbo.store. Imagine stepping into your kitchen and it's filled with vibrant vegetables, fragrant spices, and the joy of creating meals that nourish your body and the planet. In the new book, Plant-Powered Plates, Sustainable Plant-Based Pleasures for Every Palate, from author Bain Kalange. Available on Amazon, you'll discover 100 delicious plant-based recipes designed to fuel you with energy and simplify your transition to a balanced vegan lifestyle. From mindful eating and nutrition essentials to a 30-day meal plan, the author is passionate about healthy, sustainable living and has a love for simple, nourishing meals and mindful habits. He wrote Plant-Powered Plates to help others just like you enjoy the benefits of plant-based eating and shares practical, actionable ideas that'll inspire a balanced, thoughtful lifestyle, one plate at a time. Order your copy of Plant-Powered Plates right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. If you're serving in the military or thinking about getting out, there's a new book that you will want to add to your must-read list. Mission Ready: Smart Strategies for Active Duty Life, Deluxe Edition, available on Amazon. This is the no BS field guide every service member needs, and it's written by disabled veteran TDW. It has everything he wishes someone handed him on day one. When you read Mission Ready, you'll learn how to build real wealth on military pay, PCS without losing your mind, and get your VA benefits, skill bridge, and home loan options straight. Promotion hacks, transition advice that actually works. It's all in Mission Ready. Plus, checklist, real-world scenarios, and actionable tools you can use right now, not someday. Whether you're enlisted, career-minded, or counting down to ETS, Mission Ready is your battle plan. It'll become your mentor, your coach, and your wingman all in one. Order your copy right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, or Kindle Unlimited. Mission Ready: Smart Strategies for Active Duty Life, Deluxe Edition, from author TDW. Order your copy right now.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. Thanks for joining. Make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. Okay, let's take another call or two, then I'll move on to some other issues. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Scott. I'm calling from Kansas City.
Hey, Scott. What's up?
Well, I'm going to tell you why I want to ask you about this, and it's pretty enlightening. Just very briefly, can you tell me why the NEA is anti-Semitic, or are they? Have they done anti-Semitic things?
Yeah, they have. The NEA's, yeah. If you put together a lesson plan about the Holocaust and it excludes Jews, that is a purposeful thing. That is anti-Semitic. Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you why I brought that up and wanted you to explain that. Sometime back, and I hear these things, I'm very busy in my life, but I heard something very, interesting. Randy Weingarten, head of the American Federation of Teachers.
A complete lunatic. A complete lunatic.
Was working with Trump, who ordinarily would not be working with Trump.
Yeah.
To take down the Department of Education, which is tight with the NEA. And I'm going, okay, what's that all about?
Yeah. I'm not too sure about that because I hear Randy Weingarten complain all the time about Trump and Republicans. She's a very nasty, psychotic person. Bro. So I don't know what context she's helping Trump with. I've heard her talk about being outraged that he's shutting down the Department of Education.
You've heard what now?
That she's angry that they're closing down the Department of Education. I haven't heard what you said.
Okay, well,
but I mean, I could be wrong, but Randy Weingarten, I cannot imagine her ever working or cooperating with Trump, or Trump wanting her or accepting her help.
Right there with you, man. Right there with you. But how does Randy Weingarten, who was educated at Yeshiva University, with her wife, who is a rabbi,
what? Randy Weingarten is married to. Wait a minute, Randy Weingarten. The teachers union head, well, I guess she quit, but the phone is married to a woman who's a rabbi.
Just look it up.
Oh my
Google
goodness!
It, buddy.
Okay, it's not surprising. I just never heard that before. Oh my goodness.
Yep. And so, how does this gel if the NEA is anti-Semitic, and you got over here the American Federation of Teachers, Randy Weingarten, and her. I think her wife is named Kleinbaum.
Well, I don't know, but listen, there's been a big move by the anti-Semites to take over the education system of the entire United States. Have had a lot of effect. I mean, look at the universities. So it doesn't surprise me about this NEA lesson plan, removing Jews from the Holocaust education lesson plan. That's, it doesn't surprise me that they do that. I'm surprised it's taken them so long to get that in.
Wow. Yeah, I don't get this. All right. I have had many good Jewish people who have employed me and helped me in through my life, and I'm very proud that my uncle knocked down the gates of Dachau with his Sherman tank.
Awesome.
So I don't get this anti-Semite stuff. Granted, there's all this talk about Epstein working for Israel and that and this, and you've heard.
We don't know that. I mean, maybe not. I mean, a lot of that comes because he was a Jew, so they say Mossad because he was a Jew. Not all Jews are Mossad. I mean, he was a bad guy. Don't believe me. I'm not defending him, but that we don't know that. That's something that people just assume.
Yeah, I'm right. Like I'm not saying, they did it. No, I'm just saying, we've heard all this garbage. Mm-hmm. And the USS Liberty and all that other junk.
Mm-hmm. All right, hey, listen, I appreciate the call, man. Take care. All right, I'll look into that Randy Weingarten stuff. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Tam. I'm from Connecticut.
All right. Yes.
What's on my mind is that you're talking about wars that Trump started. I'm just a little confused as how bombing Iran stopped the war.
He's ended wars. He said today in Scotland he's ended about 5.
Okay, what are those 5 wars?
I got them right here. They're actually, since you asked, okay, they're listed in the article. One of them was Pakistan and India, Rwanda and the Congo, okay, Yemen.
They're still fighting, but okay.
No, they came to the White House and signed a peace treaty. The Houthis in Yemen agreed to a ceasefire. He got a ceasefire with Israel and Iran. He's ended at least 4 maybe 5. He's ended most every war in the world except the Russian-Ukraine war because Putin's lost his mind. But he's ended 4 or 5 wars. I think that's a pretty good thing. And bombing Iran prevented a mass war from happening because they were so close to having enough enriched uranium to have multiple nuclear weapons.
Well, that's not true. But
no, it is. Oh, you know more than Donald Trump.
Well,
you know more than Marco Rubio.
I will be very honest with you. I think I do know more than Donald Trump. But that's, again,
really? Oh, my goodness. Yeah, you're not a narcissist.
How
did now explain? Hold on a second. How do you in Connecticut? I'm going to ask you a question. I'll do what the hell I want. I answered your questions. You said that you know more than Donald Trump. How does some loser in Connecticut know more about the nuclear enrichment program of Iran than the President of the United States? I'm curious to know how you're more knowledgeable than Trump on that.
Okay, can I answer now without being interrupted?
You could answer the question I asked.
Will I be interrupted?
I'm not making any promises to you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. When Trump was asked in 2016, what are the 3 legs of nuclear, he didn't know. So he doesn't know anything about nuclear at all. He doesn't know anything. You don't. He doesn't need to know. And I didn't ask you about his knowledge as a nuclear scientist. You said that you know more. The nuclear triad. Excuse me. You're on hold. You made the statement that you know more about Iran's nuclear enrichment program than the President of the United States. I didn't ask you who knows more about nuclear science stuff, okay? Jimmy Carter was a nuclear scientist. I want to know how some loser... Oh, he hung up. I'm sorry. I want to know how some loser driving in his car in Connecticut knows more about the Iranian nuclear enrichment program than the sitting President of the United States, who is briefed every day about it. He hung up. I'm sorry. Oh, my... I was polite. I answered his questions. So let me get to this. He got me back on track here. The president was talking about this, okay? Listen to this. And we just heard this one yesterday. Thailand and Cambodia have reached a ceasefire agreement, so he's ended that fighting, okay? He ended the fighting, which was about to become a nuclear confrontation between India and Pakistan, right? He ended the conflict with Serbia and Kosovo. They came to the White House and signed the peace treaty for Rwanda and the Congo, right? And he stopped the Houthis and Yemen. They have a ceasefire now. Plus, he did end what was going to become a nuclear war with Iran, but 5. And he said it today. Let me pull it up, him saying it. So there's the 5. And I know you liberals don't like to hear it, but it's true.
And I look forward to playing it today. We'll play it very quickly, and then I go back to D.C., and we put out fires all over the world. We did one yesterday. As you know, we stopped a war, but we stopped about 5 wars. So that's much more important than playing.
Well, let me rewind that.
I'm not sure. Playing it today. We'll play it very quickly, and then I go back to D.C., and we put out fires all over the world. We did one yesterday. As you know, we stopped a war, but we've stopped about 5 wars. So that's much more important than playing.
That's right. So I just went through the 5. That's pretty good. And as an American, we should all be very proud of him for doing just that. All right, let's take some more calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Pam, and I'm from Massachusetts.
You were just calling me from Connecticut. Would you cross over into Massachusetts since you hung up?
What do you mean?
I was just talking to you. You said you were from Connecticut.
No, that was... my name is Pam. I'm a different person.
Oh, you sound like the same person to me. You guys, doesn't he sound like the same person? Okay, I'll buy your story.
From Massachusetts.
Okay, whatever.
I would like to rethink where that guy was talking.
Yeah, I know. So since it was you, I mean, why? It's okay. Listen, it's 1 call per show. I knew it was you. I put you back on. It's okay. You don't have to. Why are you lying? I knew it was you when I picked before I answered the phone. I knew it was you.
You know what, Brian? You're so right. I'm super sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I respect a man who admits when he's busted. Go ahead.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. That's what real men do. We apologize. You know, we
Yes.
accept our faults and we recognize.
All right, you called it. All right, hold on. Let me answer some of these other phones. All right, but now you've confessed your sin, so what's on your mind? I'll give you credit for that.
What's on my mind is I would like to pick up from last time. Trump doesn't know about what the nuclear triad is. So I do think he knows nothing about it. You don't have to know. He's got experts who know, who brief him, that tell him that they were 2 weeks away from having enough enriched uranium for to weaponize a bomb. When you're a president, you're not an expert in a lot of these things. You have experience with that, right? You have experience with that?
With what?
With being president. You said as a president, as if you have personal.
A president is the chief executive of the executive branch, right? They're like a CEO of a company. And when you're the CEO of a company, excuse me, when you are the CEO of a company or the chief executive of the executive branch of government, you have experts in their field that run things underneath you. As an example, he's not an attorney, but he hired an attorney, Pam Bondi, to be the attorney general, okay? So you hire the best people that you can find that agree with you on the things, and their expertise briefs you on the situation. That's what you do. You know, you're not a lawyer, you're not a nuclear scientist. You're not a doctor, but you have a surgeon general who recommends things. Yeah, come on.
No, you're entirely accurate that I am not any of those. I'm studying to be an engineer, so you're entirely right that I don't know anything about nuclear. You're right. But I would like my president to know about the nuclear triad. And
all right, well, then get another president down the road in another country. Thank you for your call. Who cares what you would like? America chose Trump again. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Sue from Aventura. How you doing?
Hey, Sue, what's on your mind?
I just want to tell the listeners out there, Brian is doing a wonderful thing for us. If you can just calm down and talk normally to him. He's teaching us history.
Yes.
Please be kind to this man. Please.
Oh, no, they don't have to be kind. But you know what's happened? I'll tell you part of what's going on, okay? When younger callers that are Gen Z, they don't, and the conversations get crazy. They don't know how to have a conversation like we're having, right? That's because that entire generation has not had interactions with people. They do everything through texting and things like that. They don't have conversations. They don't have phone. They don't have a life of having phone conversations or face-to-face conversations, right? They've done all their communication through DMs and texting and things like that, and they don't know how to have a conversation. That's why I'm so patient with Gen Z callers, more patient than I know I should be probably a lot of times. But they just don't know how to have conversations, which means take turns, listen to one another, and things they just don't know.
Well, we need to teach them somehow, some way.
No.
This is just...
I know.
They're so unhappy. They need to cheer up. They just need to cheer up. Ugh.
They're living in the greatest... I appreciate the call from Aventura. And I think that's part of the problem. I think most of you would agree with that, would you not? Now, I want to talk... It's hurricane season. I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. We found Tom Laporta because Steve, he had a wet spot on his ceiling and ignored it, and it caused a lot of problems in his house. If you have a wet spot on your ceiling, you got a leak in your roof, and they don't fix themselves. They get bigger and bigger and bigger. And, Tom Laporta, he's a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need, okay? And what that means is if you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. If Steve Kane would have called Tom Laporta when he saw that first wet spot on his ceiling, it was about the size of a quarter, he very well may have only needed a simple repair. But he ignored it. The leak was beyond repair. He had to get a whole new roof and a whole bunch of other things done. So if you've got a wet spot on your ceiling, you want to get that fixed before we get a tropical storm or a hurricane. It is rainy season. It is hurricane season here in Florida. Tom Laporta covers both the east and west coast of Florida. He's also more than just a roofer. He's a contractor. He's been in business since 1988, by the way. He's a contractor, which under Florida law allows Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing to deal directly with your insurance company on the cost of the repair or the replacement of your roof. He does residential, municipal, commercial. He can handle a job of any size, whether it's one single-family home, one office building, one apartment building, or an HOA that has over 300 units. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. And to our listeners, he gives out his cell phone number. Now, you can go to his website, laportaroofing.com, and you'll find his office number at laportaroofing.com. The cell phone number I give you is not on the website. You can still call that office number, but if you want to reach Tom Laporta directly, call or text him on his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. All right? Okay, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Sam again. Can you hang up on me this time, man?
If you call again, I'm just gonna tell you because you got problems, okay? And I knew it was you when I picked you up this time as well. I can see who's calling.
No, I know
you.
you know. It's my number.
So I'm gonna tell you this. I have very few rules, okay, on this program. Very few rules. One of those rules is one call per. One of those rules is you can call one time per day. You're new, so I'm giving you some slack. So if you call me again on this show, you and I will never speak again. All right? Take care. Yeah, I mean, I got some rules here. I mean, I'm running a show, and I got to have some order. I mean, I'm not harsh. I think I'm pretty fair with the callers, and I like talking to all of you, and I like you guys calling in and everything. But you cannot abuse the privilege. Now, there's another thing I want to mention. This is in Time Magazine. They're saying that President Trump is lining up some possible nominees for the Supreme Court of the United States in case there's an opening. I'm going to tell you, I love Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. I think he's pretty awesome. Don't you guys? However, he needs to retire and allow Trump to replace him. As much as I love him, and I know you guys love Clarence Thomas too, he's getting up there in years. And if Trump is not president in 4 years, and God help America, a Democrat gets back in, they're probably, he's not going to be up there forever. He was appointed by Bush 41, remember? And he is great. I love Clarence Thomas, but we need him to step down so that the president can nominate someone that's going to be there for a long time, not maybe 8 more years or 10 more years, someone who's going to be there for 30 or 40. And I hope that there's some talk of that going on. Clarence Thomas is a really good guy, and he's not some Ruth Bader Ginsburg who wants to be there in hospice care. He understands the importance of the court, his importance, and having a good conservative constitutionalist in that seat. So I'm really, truly hoping, President Trump's done such a great job with, there's his Supreme Court picks, in particular, Amy Coney Barrett, she's let us down more than once, and she'll let us down again, I'm sure. But the Trump Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Millions of people will be born and live lives because President Trump did such a perfect job getting a Supreme Court that is reflective of him and the Constitution and his values. And we cannot let the Democrats get another appointment there. We need a good conservative constitutionalist. And I'm thinking that Clarence Thomas is going to step down, but it's important. I think it's important to do it in the first 2 years, because if we lose the Senate in the midterm, the midterms is an unknown. Historically, the party in power loses seats in the midterms, but the polling data is really different than what we're normally getting. So we may maintain and even gain seats in both houses of Congress, but it's an unknown. I mean, if it was held today, according to all the polling, we would hold on and maybe gain. But it's an unknown. And if we lose the Senate and the Democrats take over, they could hold things up. They could hold things up, and they may not allow him to get an appointment through on the Supreme Court in the last 2 years of this term. So Clarence Thomas needs to step down during the first 2 years of this second term so we can make sure that we get a good Trump-appointed conservative in that seat. You guys agree with that or not? I would think most of you would agree with me on that. Now, if you'd like to support my channel and my content, become a Patreon supporter. There's a link to my Patreon page in the description of the video. If you become a Patreon supporter, you get access to commercial-free editions of all of the podcast episodes. Like this episode, when the show's over, I'm going to go through and I'm going to edit out the commercials and upload it to the Patreon page for Patreon supporters. So Patreon supporters, you get commercial-free editions of all of the podcast episodes, and you get access to all kinds of things that both my wife and I post to the Patreon page that no one else gets or ever sees, including videos and a lot of other things that are posted nowhere else, exclusive to Patreon supporters. If you're a top Patreon supporter, you get your name up on the screen here, and you get a live on-air shout-out on each and every episode. The names you will hear now are my top Patreon supporters. I want to thank SFjr, Christine, ETW, Chuck, Pamela, Nick, Wesley, Doris, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, LeeZep, Shawna, George, Brandon, John, Frank, Dale, Tina, David, Laura, Rob, Wes, Sue, and Janice. These are my top Patreon supporters. Thank you all. Again, there's a link to my Patreon page in the video description or in the podcast description on whatever platform you're listening on. And the direct website address is patreon.com/RealBrianCraigShow. Patreon.com/RealBrianCraigShow. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for tuning in.